All right, I believe the stream is live. Let me just double check. Uh, Sorry, I just got some text messages. I've been getting messages from a person who thinks I'm their neighbor, and I have no idea who they are. Apparently, this lady named Sally thinks I am her neighbor Tom, who lives in Seattle. And he keeps. Yeah, apparently they're having a dispute about the leaves between their yards and tree. I think he's like when he's sweeping or raking, blowing whatever he's doing the leaves out of his yard, he's blowing them whatever into her yard. And yeah, that's funny. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm just responding to her, so hopefully she'll stop texting me. I've gotten like 5 texts and she just doesn't seem to believe that I am not in fact the person she thinks I am. All right. With that strangeness out of the way, hello everybody. This is ZZ1000ZZ, and today I'm continuing my No Element Challenge run of Chrono Cross. Today we are at the final dungeon, and we may be on course to actually beat the entire run. I want to stress, however, the word may there is doing a lot of work. I have very low expectations that I'll be able to beat the last 2 bosses. We should, however, be able to beat everything up to them. Now, I am a bit rusty in this game, so I don't remember exactly where I need to go in this dungeon. Plus, there are actually 2 chests I want to get. And I don't remember which ones they are, so I'm going to be going around looking for those. Okay. That's not one. One of the chests is an item. It's the weapon for a character named Janice, the bunny girl. It is I believe it's called beta carotene. It's her best weapon for the whole game. The other one is a spectral glove, which is a piece of rainbow equipment. Now the rainbow equipment or the spectral glove, because it's rainbow equipment, I know I can disassemble to farm or to harvest the materials and build a different rainbow weapon. For the beta carotene, I don't know if that's the case. I know it's her best weapon, but I don't know if it has all the materials you need to make a piece of rainbow equipment. Oh no, they're going to weaken me before I run away. There are some good items or elements you can farm in this dungeon, if I remember right, but I believe they all require you use steel. I don't think any of them are drops, so we're not going to be caring about fighting enemies. But I believe oh my god, there's someone on the stair and I can't see him to avoid them. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. I believe what is it, shiny salt? It's the shiny material for the white element, whatever its name is. I believe you can farm an item from enemies by stealing it in this dungeon, and then you'll use that material to craft rainbow equipment. A lot of people think the best way to get shiny materials to make your rainbow equipment is to use summons to kill enemies, because when you do that, you can get shiny material. And that might be true, I'm not sure, but I've always preferred to use the stealing method where you find items. Do I go left or right? Don't know. Uh, where you find enemies who have items you can steal and then disassemble into the material you need. I don't know which is actually faster, but the stealing method is just simpler. I don't know why, but it always just makes me laugh and kind of surprises me when I see how much damage Surge can deal with the Master Moon. Oh, that's right, we didn't farm stat gains. At the end of the last video, said I was going to farm stat gains and come up here, and I just did that, came back and saved. But when I saved, I then just walked a little further and found another boss and decided to kill the boss because he was right there. Wait. So I actually could get more mini stat gains. I'm trying to figure out. There's like 3 paths I could have taken, and I'm worried one of them will be to one of the items I want. So I may have missed an item I would like. Don't think there's anything up here we care about. Speaking of mini stat gains, let's go ahead and kill a couple enemies along our way. Wait. Oh, okay. For a second, sorry, I thought my mic was muted, but nope, it's not. As a random thing, yesterday I was watching a streamer, and they referred to the mini stat gains as mid-caps. And I'm not sure that there was any particular reason why they use the phrase mid-cap, but I find it catchy and kind of want to just keep using it, even if it has no particular meaning. Okay. Oh wait, it used a 2 instead of a 3. Well, fine. The thing survived. Alrighty. Yeah, and you can see Glenn, while not dealing as much damage as Surge, is dealing quite decent damage now. This is why we wanted the 2 of them as our final. Oh, what? Wait. Yeah. The Angel Charm was one of the items I was talking about. This, if we disassemble, will give us a shiny material that we can use to craft rainbow equipment. So apparently that one is farmable, not by drops instead of steals. That's cool. I do not remember where the chests I want are. Oh, that's right. The reason I'm not going to farm shiny materials isn't that you need to steal the ones in here. There's 6 shiny materials, 1 for each element, and 1 of them can only be obtained by stealing or by using summons. The other 5 you can get as droppable items. The problem is you need all 6 to craft rainbow equipment, so getting 5 of the 6 doesn't accomplish anything. Sorry, Norse, you don't get a turn. That reminds me, I still need to decide if I want to use Zappa or Norse. Yeah, 2 more Angel Charms, so. We had found 1 earlier in the run, now we should have 4. So I think that gives us like 4 shiny salts if we want them, but then I don't think there's any reason to worry about that. Yeah. I really hope I haven't missed either of the weapons I was hoping to get. Wait, can these guys actually deal damage to me with Meteorite? Apparently not. So yeah, this game, as you can see, is not designed with the expectation people will get as powerful as I am. But that's like most JRPGs. They have to balance the end game for people who don't do all the optional content or grind. And it's fine because we will struggle a lot with some of the bosses we're going to have to fight soon. Yeah, 3 more Angel Charms. Okay, so nothing over here. Oh god, I forgot. Yeah, this is the way I want to go, right? Oh yeah, this falls. Now when you fall like that, if you're doing a speed run, you can actually fall and, yeah, like right in here I think it is, there's an enemy formation you can actually fall into and get in a fight with. Surge. Surge. You finally made it this far, Surge. What was that? Are you human? When I was still human, I was locked up here, and I have been ever since. This tower is a fortress belonging to the ancient reptiles, a symbol of revenge brought against mankind by the dragons. With the defeat of fate, the seal has been broken, this tower has surfaced. In the eyes of the dragons, we humans are the foes. A brain that is developed abnormally to 3 times the original size in a span of 3 million years. We humans have evolved at an enormous rate because of our contact with Lavos' flame. This game keeps saying things like this, and I just don't believe it's true because we saw in Chrono Trigger before Lavos came, humans already had a society. There's no indication that they were unevolved. In a sense, mankind is Lavos' offspring. We humans are extraneous to the planet. Now, how will you fight, Surge? That said, there may be some way to square the seeming circle by, I don't know, maybe you could say that Lavos arrived at Earth in part before he came. Like, Lavos sent little spores or feelers to the planet before he arrived. I mean, that wouldn't be a crazy idea. We know of Lavos arriving as a giant meteor causing the Ice Age, but he could have sent out little sporelings or something to scout the area first. But without some explanation like that, I just don't know how to make sense of what this game says about humans evolving because of Lavos. That is so gross. Let's see, that was 6 plus 4, so 10 stamina to kill the entire enemy formation. But we could have used Yellow Field on a character who had a Dreamer's Scarf for 1, and then someone would need to build up like 6 stamina to get enough stamina, or enough element grids to use the summon and kill all of them in 7 stamina. So yeah. We could actually be killing these guys faster in terms of in-combat time. Not on the clock, but like units of time in combat that pass. Faster with elements than with those physical attacks. Alright, HP, strength, resistance, magic. Wow, so all 3 of these get a strength upgrade. That's nice. Norris even gets resistance and magic resistance. Alright. Obviously, the big thing there is Glenn and Surge both got strength, so it's very good that we fought these extra battles. Oh, by the way, that like face in the wall that we talked to, it was apparently originally going to be a much more impactful character. Oh wait, I went backwards. But yeah, that thing was supposed to have a lot more to it, but they didn't get to do whatever they wanted to because of development time. The last third of this game is pretty clearly rushed. Not as bad as a game like Xenogears, but still pretty noticeably. And that's one of the plot threads that didn't get developed. I've always been curious what they would have done with it. Also, I do think I have missed one of the weapons I was looking for. Okay, so is that a chest over there? I can't quite tell. Yeah. Defender Plus. That would be good if we wanted to make our characters more defensive. But I don't think we care about that right now. Especially not when we'll have stone helmets and the moon glasses to take up 4 slots across the party. Okay, here's another chest. Pack of Lies. That is the highest tier weapon for characters like, I believe, Snef and Harl. But yeah, I think I missed the Spectral Glove. Once we do the next boss, I'll look up and see if I did. Because that's going to be a really impactful item to have. Wait a second. Can I climb up this? Oh. I thought so, but when I first walked into it, I must have just bumped into it at the wrong angle or something. Oh. It doesn't look like there's any reason to go over here. Ah, dude. I was just so afraid of the water knocking us off the path that I ran into the cubby and couldn't get out. Terror. Yeah, I like that enemy formation simply because it dies so fast we don't even have to like pay attention. But we already got our mid caps, so we don't need to fight enemies right now. Wait, real quick. Ah, no. I think I can go down the little ramp on the right and get to that doorway. That's why I doubled back. Let me see if that's right. Oh, cytoplasms. Yeah, we don't care about them. But yeah, there's a doorway on the right, and I would like to go to it if I can. So let's see if I'm correct. Yeah, I think we could reach it by going up and then going to the right. That enemy party would move out of the way. Ah! Alright, sorry, I shouldn't be using the speed up button. I've been trying to only use it when grinding things I've already done, but to be honest, my head was killing me earlier today, and that's why I didn't stream, or I didn't start the stream until much later than usual. I wasn't even going to stream today because my head was hurting, but the migraine medicine kicked in and I feel a lot better. And I'm so close to the end of this run that the idea of quitting, I mean, it wouldn't be quitting, it'd be taking a break, but I have been able to stream this run every day in a row for 10 days leading up to this. I didn't want to break that streak just because I have a headache. Oh, okay, yeah, that's how we get here. Plus, what could be better for a headache than winning this stupid challenge? Beta Carotene! That's one of the items I wanted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is the highest tier equipment for Janice. I just am not 100% sure on if when we disassemble it, it gives us the material for rainbow equipment. If it does, then I'll be able to get 2 rainbow equipment of my choice thanks to this dungeon. Because I can definitely disassemble the spectral glove that's in here to craft in whatever rainbow equipment I want. Wait, now we can just run away and go up the, not ladder, but what is this, a vine? Yeah, alright. And I think the next boss is coming up very soon, but we'll see. By the way, the next boss does not scare me at all. I expect it to be quite easy. Of course, in saying so, I may be jinxing myself. I'm not actually superstitious enough to believe that saying things will, actually jinx you. But I do believe what we say as jinxing ourselves is an important concept because what you say may not influence the probability what happens next happening, but it can definitely affect how you look. If you say, oh, I'm going to win this easily, and then immediately lose, well, odds are you didn't lose because you said you were going to win. But you know what you did do? You made yourself look way sillier by doing it. So. Okay, yeah. So we've made a path back to the save point. That's cool. One thing I really like about this dungeon is it has a lot of these, I don't know what you call them. I guess they are technically shortcuts, but basically the game gives you a lot of tools to open up pathways to go back through the areas you've been much faster. The result being that you can easily backtrack if, say, you need to go get a chest you missed or something like that. Dear God, 50 strength on Karsh. Where's Zappa? That's Orcha, the other fat older man. Guess they're not really older, they're more middle-aged, but... Oh, there's Zappa. We're gonna fight one battle with these guys to get them their mid-caps. But yeah, I'm a big fan of when a game makes it easy to traverse itself. Even if it has to be long, opening up shortcuts like this so you can easily leave if you want after you've already cleared an area, I think is just really good design. I wish more games would do it. Well, so I just think this dungeon looks really cool, and the way they found to make all these interconnected paths was really impressive. Oh. Unfortunate that we missed. Well, even Karsh, who we don't have kitted out, barely takes damage from enemies in this dungeon. That's insane. Oh my god. They are genuinely dealing 0 damage. Oh no, one of them actually did a point of damage. Now there, Karsh actually took a respectable amount of damage. Now look at how weak Karsh's attacks are there. I want to see how Zappa's attacks are because he has a better weapon than Karsh. Also, dear God, this battle is going to take a while if they keep acting so often. Yeah, Zappa's 2 attack deals more damage than Karsh's 3. They both have the same strength, but Zappa has a much better weapon. This game is very much based on preparation in terms of. Oh, no strength for either of them. That sucks. Oh. It's very much based on preparation in terms of what gear you get, what grinding you do for stats, and what elements you farm to allocate. Which I think is why I love this game as much as I do. I have played very few games that that seem to reward you anywhere near as much as this game does for being prepared. And I've played games like Final Fantasy Tactics. Hot take, Final Fantasy Tactics is an easy game, and most people are so bad at it, they overgrind. Slight caveat, I shouldn't be so negative. I think a lot of people grind because Final Fantasy Tactics lets you grind as much as you want to be giga powerful. And I think some people enjoy grinding just for the, you know, power trip, the experience of being stupidly strong. And that I don't have a problem with. But when I first played Final Fantasy Tactics, so many people told me about how I should grind this, I should, you know, unlock all these classes, use this super OP build, all these things. And I got really bored and quit the game. Then when I went and replayed it, I didn't do any of those things. I basically didn't grind at all, and I enjoyed the game way more, and it was not that difficult. Oh, I should have seen what we get for disassembling that beta carotene. Oh well. Yeah, we'll just fight this thing. That red circle on the right was the next boss. You boys. If I remember right, these enemies actually have a useful item. I don't remember if you get it by killing them or if you have to steal it from them. But I think they do have a good drop to get. Next time I play this game, I am definitely going to play either, whether it's a challenge run or a casual run, I am definitely going to be spending a lot of my time stealing. Because I love farming all the different items, seeing what enemies drop what. And it feels so weird that this entire run I have had to miss out on so many things I would normally want. Alright. Many have bled, suffered, and perished. It is your turn to die. You know, I don't think the game ever says this, but I've always assumed that these bosses are like the spirits of the dragons we fought. Or at least that they're in some way related to them. Because when Terror Tower first rose from the water, it was preceded by the 6 elemental dragons all merging into one creature. So, real quick, the reason he acted immediately is his AI lets him automatically act when he gets into critical health, even if it means interrupting your action. So him using 3 tablets there means we had already knocked him to critical health. And that's why we knew he would die very quickly after. But anyway, the 6 elemental dragons we saw all merged into one being. And then we fight 6 elemental entities, and I always figured there must be some sort of connection there, but I don't know what it would be. Anyway, this level up is insane for us. Surge gets to 60 strength. That has to be way higher than we would normally expect. Glenn 46, Norris 47, while getting 44 physical resistance, 24 magic resistance. Norris is not like one of our main damage dealers, but I gotta say, he is impressing me with his stat gains right now. Anyway, that all said, we're going to actually leave the dungeon now. so I can farm our mid caps. And I realized I need to go do a scene with Zappa in Termina in order to be able to in order to be able to craft the rainbow equipment. If you watched my earlier videos or you played this game before, you may know that I went to Termina and talked to the other Zappa there, and the two Zappas were talking about crafting rainbow material. But at the time, I didn't have the master hammer that they need to be able to do it. I got the master hammer, but I never went back and talked to that Zappa, so now we need to go do that. We have the Smith Spirit item, which lets us craft items from anywhere that we can save, but you do still need to unlock the option by doing the little cutscene. Oh wait. Why didn't I put Zappa in my party first? I'm a dum-dum. Yeah, there's an inn here. It'll have a save point we can use our teleporter at. Yeah, I'm being a bit more liberal today with the speed up function. I don't think anyone will care. Honestly, I think I care more about that sort of thing than almost anyone else would. But I don't know. I just feel like I guess I'm a purist, but I just feel like using external tools when doing challenge runs is weird. Like, are you really doing the challenge run for a game if you're using external tools to help you do it? I don't know. Oh, what do you have to say? I thought you were a poor soldier. Earlier, we saw poor soldiers come in and try to stop Zappa from working at the forge, and he told them off. You be needing something? Yep. Yeah, we went through this dialogue before, so that's why I'm not reading it out. Alright. Yeah, the last time we got almost the exact same dialogue, except at the end of it, he basically said, but my hammer, the hammer I have is not strong enough to make this equipment. So this is the rainbow axe. It's probably radiating such beautiful colors because of its prismatic nature. The response from the hammer is as satisfying as its finish. It be truly an amazing material. We should be able to do this on our own next time. That sure was a brilliant job. I hope I can work with you again. Yay! He learned how to forge rainbow material. Or rainbow equipment. One thing I will say that bugs me is he just said, oh, so this is a rainbow axe. And you're like, oh, cool. So he crafted a rainbow axe. We just saw it. Zappa, where's my rainbow axe? You just crafted it. We all saw you say it. You held it up for us to see. I want my rainbow axe. The only thing I can assume is the other Zappa kept it. But, yeah. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, oh cool, I got this new equipment. And then I couldn't find it. And I was so sad. You can't make something like 20 pieces of rainbow equipment in a run, so it's not that hard to get them all, but I like free stuff. What can I say? Anyway, we're going to do two things. First, we're going to get our mid caps, and then we are actually going to hop back to Homeworld. In yesterday's stream, I tried to go see a cutscene with Orla, and I couldn't. And I wasn't quite sure what I was doing wrong. Turns out I went to the bar, but I was supposed to go to the hospital. So I just went to the wrong place. Now, we don't actually need to see the cutscene, but I really like Orla as a character, and I think the cutscene is really pretty. Well, I guess sweet is better word than pretty, but I just really like the scene, so I want to see it. That is such insane damage. What does a 3 do? Good God, 1,000 damage even. As a slight spoiler, the second to last boss in this game has 7 phases, and each phase has, I believe, 1900 HP. So it winds up being a bit under 14,000. That'd be what? 13,308 total HP across all of its phases. And then the boss after that has something like 10,000 HP. So while yes, we are dealing a lot of damage to enemies right now, that may not mean a lot because we're like, yeah. Even if I'm hitting for like 600 damage every time I swing for with a 3 attack, that's going to take a ton of hits to kill the bosses, and they may not have the strongest attacks, or, well, actually the second to last boss has some really strong attacks, but I don't think we'll see most of them. I'll talk about when we get there. But anyway, regardless of how weak or strong their attacks are, the sheer number of turns they will take is going to be a huge problem for us. And that's the main reason I don't know if we can beat them. It's just, even if they only hit us for 50 damage each time they act, if they get to act a ton of times, that could easily be enough to kill us. And there's actually, on the second to last boss, a bug that no one's ever been able to quite work out that could just one-shot us. It's a really weird thing, but whenever the second to last boss changes forms, your party takes some damage. Basically, the what would you call it? The battlefield you're on changes, and your party falls to the new battlefield. When that happens, the game deals your party a bit of damage. It can be as low as 0, or under normal circumstances, it might be like 50 damage. Which will still add up when you have no way to heal. But that's like, okay, not a huge deal. Thing is, there's a bug or something where sometimes it'll change forms and your party will just take like 1,000 damage and you just instantly game over. I don't think anyone has any real idea what causes it, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. Anyway, Zappa gained strength, and Surge gained resistance. So Surge is not going past 60 strength for now. We do need to fight a couple battles with North and Glenn, because those are the two we actually care about. No, I don't want you in that sun. Oh, God. I don't know if it's my headache or what, but I just could not find Glenn for a minute there. Yeah, you can't see it because I don't have a webcam on, but every couple minutes I'm rolling my shoulders and my neck, kind of like moving my head around to stretch out the muscles, because I feel a lot of tension building up. But it's worth it. I'm genuinely excited with this run. Ever since we beat Miguel, I have been so thrilled with this. And then when we beat Dario, I can't drop the run. Originally, when I started the run, strength for Glenn and North. That's really nice. Glenn even got a point of agility. Cool. But anyway, when I first started this run, my plan had been to stream this run and a challenge run in a different game, a game I really like called Disciples 2. I figured I'd bounce back and forth between the two games so I didn't get burnt out on one. But I was expecting to struggle a lot more. So I was thinking, I'd get frustrated with one run, then go work on the other. Instead, we've been having so much success in this run, I've just been sticking with it. Alright, I think that's the last bit that we'll get, but let's do one more battle just to be safe. Alright. Nice. Oh, wait. I don't know why I thought there was only one enemy in this fight. Yeah, I killed the first enemy and said, alright, nice, thinking I was done, and then I was confused for a moment. I was like, oh right, there's more enemies we have to kill. By the way, I think we're up to like 99 bones, shells, or whatever other crafting materials from all the grinding we've had to do. Real quick, let's check out our Smith Spear. Forge. As you can see, we can craft Spectra weapons, or Prism weapons, or Rainbow weapons. For whatever reason, the game calls Rainbow equipment like 3 different things. The problem, of course, is we need Shiny Ember, Leaf, Salt, Dew, Sand, and Soot. And if we come over here, we can disassemble a Demon or Daemon Charm. I never know how to pronounce that one. For a Shiny Soot. So that was 2 Shiny Soots. A Shiny Sand. Another Shiny Sand. Shiny Salt. And we have 8 of these Angel Charms. Of course, we don't need 8 Shiny Sands. So do any of our other items give us shiny equipment? I don't remember off the top of my head if we have any more. No. So yeah, we got those 3 charms. Oh wait, Sea Charm for Shiny Dew. So that's 4 of the shiny material in the game. But I believe that's all we can get from accessories that we have. Yeah. Unfortunate. And then for armor, the Energizer suit would give us Shiny Salt, but we already have that. Yeah, looks like nothing else we can get from there. Weapons, what does the Beta Carotene give us? Oh. It's funny, you need the Master Hammer as a key item to craft shiny material, but you... Wait, I don't know if the game would actually let you disassemble it or not. Yeah, okay. So the Shiny Ember and the Shiny Leaf are the 2 materials we don't have. But because we were able to disassemble the Beta Carotene, now we can make a Prism Mail. This is the best armor in the game, bar none. And we can make 1. If we find the Spectra Glove in the dungeon, we'll be able to make another. Of course, there is an argument that maybe we should make a Rainbow equipment, or a Rainbow weapon. Search has a Master Moon, Glenn has dual Ion Lancers, but whoever's in our 3rd slot does not have a weapon as good as them, so we could give them a Prism weapon, Rainbow weapon. But instead, I think we're going to focus on the 2 main damage dealers and boost them up even further. So yeah, 4 more defense and 2 more magic defense than the Stone Mail. But yeah, my expectation is that we are going to, for the most part, ignore our 3rd character and let them die or whatever in battle, while Sturge and Glenn do all the work. So my current plan is to make 2 Rainbow equipments, 1 for Sturge, 1 for Glenn, and then the 3rd character can have like moon glasses or whatever defensive accessories to try to make up for having weaker defensive armor. Now, hopefully, this is the correct world for where to go. Now, one interesting thing about this game is we are in Homeworld, which is named that because it's the world we came from when we started the game. And, wait, yeah. This is where we had to come to find Chronopolis. Wait, is that right? Let me just double check. Yeah. So yeah, this is where Chronopolis was. At the same time, it is not where Dinopolis is. Okay, yeah, it was Sky Dragon Isle that becomes Terror Tower. In the other world, this is where Terror Tower is. So, on the one hand, Homeworld kind of has the human city, whereas the another world has the dinosaur city. And I say kind of because it's not clear what kind of dimension Chronopolis is actually in, since we have to go through fate distortions. Wait, I need to change my party. Since we have to go through, like, whatever those fate distortions are to find it. Yeah, we'll board our boat. And let's go grab Orla. Hey, you. Now, when we first recruited her, she talked about her sister Tia and how they were separated and how she hopes to one day find her. That the two were twins and she always feels like she's missing part of herself because they're separated. Doc, please look up. This voice, it is so familiar, but something is different. Who is this? Tia! Is that you, Tia? What the? No, I'm not Tia. Please calm down. I am Tia's twin sister, Orla. Tia's twin sister? Hold on a second. What exactly is going on? Sorry, we don't have much time to explain right now. Please, let me see Tia. I can feel her, even though we live in different worlds. Tia is here. Doc, I beg you. Your eyes tell me that you speak the truth. I understand. I will permit you to visit, but realize one thing. It will be a painful reunion, Orla. Yes, I know. But still, I must visit my sister. Alright, let me take you to her. And this is where we get to find out about Tia. As you can ascertain, dude, our voices cannot reach her, no matter how hard we try. We do not even have a firm diagnosis of what caused her to become unconscious and collapse. Time has mercilessly passed by while she continues to slumber. Tia, can you hear my voice? Your big sister is here by your side. Sis, Orla. Tia? I was having a long dream, Orla. I finally meet you. Your hair, your eyes, we are both really alike, for we are twin sisters born on the same planet. Oh, Tia, how could this be? But No, it's alright, sis. I know, I've been watching everything from my dreams. Yes, the world is not one. Just like our dreams, the possibilities are infinite. My long dream has ended. I am so glad that I was able to meet you. No, Tia, it's not the end. No, Tia. I won't let it end like this. We're going to start over from the beginning, so please, Tia, don't go. My spirit will always be with you, sis. I will always be with you. Wait, Tia, please, just once more. Your eyes. Open your eyes and show me your smile once more. I beg of you. Another world? You mean to say such a thing exists? Truly bodacious. A miracle brought together by a bond spanning two worlds. It is truly unbelievable for such a thing to really occur. Orla, as Tia said in her final words, she will always be with you. Even though your worlds are different, you two are truly sisters. That will never change. This was Tia's. Take it with you. That blue gem. I heard Tia talk about this gem before. I can only give it to you. Tia's spirit will always be with you, along with this blue gem. Now, Orla, open your hands. The split gem has become one and regained its blue sparkle. Orla received the blue brooch. Tia's spirit. Oh, Tia, why did you have to? Tia, just when I finally found you. Sis. Tia? Oh, it can't be. Orla. Tia! That blue gem binds us as sisters and also contains the prayers of mother and father. The split gem has crossed the worlds and become one, and now it has been passed into your hands. Mother and father's prayers are within this gem, and my spirit will be with you, sis. Please don't forget, and live strong for the both of us. And she gets her level 7 technique. Of course, we don't care about the technique, but I just love that scene. I've seen it plenty of times, and I still tear up a little. But anyway, that was a diversion which we didn't really need to do, but I wanted to because I love it. With it done, we can go back to Terror Tower. Let's just swap our party around real quick. Glenn. Actually. Wait. Glenn and Norris are in the wrong spots, aren't they? Yeah, Norris is slot 2. I find it easier to control combat if Glenn is in slot 2 and Surge slot 1. Because after Surge runs out of stamina, it'll automatically go to Glenn. I don't have to switch party members. Okay. And now we can go back to Terror Tower. We just have to go grab our ship. Alright. And now we'll save. We have beaten the red and yellow bosses in this dungeon. So that leaves blue, green, white, and black. I forget whether blue or green comes first, but white and black are the last two. And you can actually do those two in either order. Yeah, I just hope I didn't miss that spectral glove yet. The fact that I already found one of the 2 rainbow equipments I was looking for makes me hopeful that I didn't miss the spectral glove, but if I did, I may need to run back and find it so I can get another rainbow mail, that one for Glenn. This is where the boss was, so we go up here. Let's try to run around this enemy. Yeah, that works. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, I'm curious if Surge can take damage from any of these random enemies now that he has the rainbow armor equipped. Okay, please go away, thing. Alright. Ah! Alright. Yeah, we could kill it, but there's no benefit to doing so, other than getting it out of the way. Okay, so we need to find a ladder down to get to that thing. Or that chest. You know, I'm just gonna kill him. Or maybe I won't. See, I was actually right to leave. Glenn just took a ton of damage from these things. Okay, that's 5 misses in a row. I'm annoyed. Surge taking a little bit of damage there doesn't bug me much because he heals thanks to the regeneration from the Master Mune, but Glenn doesn't heal. Oh wait, and Surge didn't take damage. I don't know why I thought he did. Oh well, if necessary, we can throw on the earrings and use the healing trick we found. For anyone who doesn't know, if you equip an earring that increases your character's HP in battle... Hold on. Is Norse flying in the air right now? That's hilarious looking. He really is just floating midair. That's awesome. Anyway, if you equip an earring that increases your character's HP in battle... I couldn't get it to happen again. Oh well. The increased HP doesn't go away at the end of the battle. So you can enter a battle, get some bonus HP, and then leave and repeat the process over and over. And that bonus HP will just be turned into permanent HP. Also, we did just get the Spectral Glove I was wanting, so that was the last item we wanted from this dungeon. I don't know if we want to go left or up here. Chest, okay. But yeah, with that Spectral Glove, we can now craft a second Rainbow Mail. Or, again, we could craft a Rainbow Weapon if we wanted to. Holy Healing. Wait. But to do that, we need a save point. And I don't think we'll find one before the next boss. Could this be Viper Manor? What is going on? Fair question, but honestly, I wouldn't complain. I love this scene, just in terms of the backdrop. I remember the first time I played this game, we were doing the Viper Manor segment, and I got to this part in the dungeon, and I just froze because I thought that looked so cool. Also, 2 moons, don't forget. That actually is important. Silence. Silence. And there's a third ghost kid over there, but we would expect silence again. So it looks like the hatch is not in this version. In the real Viper Manor, there's a little hatch here where we can go see a beach bum. And it'll let us rename our party. Plus, we can see a weird ship, which, if you play the first game, or as you'll know already, or you can find out later, by talking to Balthazar is his time ship, the Neo Epoch. Wait, can you not? Huh. 1 second. I guess you can't flip a switch to lower that ladder either. Anyway, here is the Prophet. Welcome. It is good to see you finally made it here. I've been expecting you, Surge. Where are we? Is this Viper Manor? This is a space that does not exist, but don't mind that. More importantly, I have something I must explain to you. Who are you? Oh, my name is Balthazar. In the ancient magical kingdom of Zeal, I was known as Sage of Reason. Now I need to take a drink real quick. We're going to get one of the game's exposition dumps here, so expect a lot of dialogue. Well, that was up until the Queen of Zeal attempted to harness the power of Lavos. Let's just say, things got out of control and Lavos created a dimensional vortex that threw me far into the future. There, I seized the opportunity to study the science of the future. I was then able to apply that to the knowledge I brought from my own era, including magic, which was long lost in the future. Anyway, this led me to make huge progress in the research of time. Well, that research led to the creation of Chronopolis and to the time crash. You might think I really blew it, but perhaps it was really my finest hour. Ho ho ho. A lot of fans have taken this line as proof that Balthazar planned out everything that happened in the entire game and all of its history. As, like, it was one gigantic plan. He was manipulating everything. But that interpretation is based on, I believe, just this line and one other, and I think that interpretation is stupid, and I don't think it matches. Here he says, you might think I really blew it, but perhaps it was really my finest hour. That doesn't mean it was a plan, like, oh, I really blew it, or it's my finest hour. Neither of those alternatives require him have it planned. It could have been, hey, I did something, it worked out great. That doesn't mean it was some part of some grand plan. It could have just been, hey, it worked out in a way I didn't expect, or any number of other things. Anyway, I created a compact time machine that I dubbed the Neo Epoch. I used it to time warp to this age to learn of Chronopolis and Fate's plans, and to see how things were turning out. Also, if he did plan out everything right from the start, why did he need to travel time to learn about what happened? The fact he had to travel time in order to find out what happened, to me, would seem pretty clear proof that, no, he didn't plan everything out in advance. Terror Tower is really a city of the Reptites from another dimension's future. It was originally Dinopolis, the castle of Azala's descendants, who achieved an evolution much more intimate with the planet. Dinopolis was drawn into this dimension's past about 10,000 years ago. That was done so that it would serve as a counterbalance against Chronopolis, which Lavos pulled here. Needless to say, a fierce battle ensued. In the end, Chronopolis emerged as the victor, and the Reptites' fortress was sealed away by fate. But more important now is the role the dragons play in all this. Originally, the whole archipelago of El Nido was known as the Sea of Eden. This was because it was where the dragon gods resided. But then fate sealed away the dragon god's power, in effect becoming a god itself. Thus the islands where the new godhead, fate, existed came to be called the Sea of Eden instead. Perhaps you didn't realize it, but you were used by the dragon gods to eliminate fate. It was not true that the dragon gods sealed away the frozen flame. Rather, it was quite the opposite. It was fate that used the power of the flame to seal up the dragon gods. In reality, the dragon gods are in opposition to man, while fate itself was actually the protector of humanity. The dragon gods were originally a singular plasma life form, a living accumulation of the planet's energy. Originally, it was a biological machine used to control the powers of nature in the future society of the Reptites. In order to control the natural energy itself, Fate divided the one Dragon God entity into 6 weaker plasma lifeforms. So now what we're finding out is the Dragon God was a singular entity which kind of served a similar purpose of Fate. It was basically the power source, the control source of Dinopolis. When Fate won the war between humans and the Dragon Knights, it split that, what is effectively a machine, into 6 different weaker forms, then scattered them across the land and sealed them away. Their dragon-like appearances are just pseudo-guises, temporary forms they take so that they can appear in this dimension. But all that was changed when Fate was vanquished and its power hold was eliminated. Also notice he says that the dragon gods, the 6 of them, use pseudo-guises to appear in our dimension. That suggests there's some sort of extra dimensional power they have, or existence that they have, which could explain why there are only 6 dragon gods across both dimensions. Effectively, what I read that as is there was the one main dragon god, Fate split it up into 6, and then there were 6 dragon god islands. Thousands of years later, the events right before Chrono Cross start, the dimensions get split, and because the dragon gods are not normal things, they are somewhat extra dimensional, they could only appear in one of the 2 worlds, and that's why they were missing, like half were missing from each world. Am I right? I don't know. I think it's the most sensible explanation, but maybe not. Anyway, at that moment, the 7 dragons who had been rendered almost powerless and forgotten, note 7, not 6, traveled across the dimensions to reunite into a single entity. And this confirms that the dragon gods, the 6 individual ones, can travel between dimensions if they feel like it, which we kind of already knew by the fact we saw all 6 in one world merge into one entity. 7 dragons? I thought there were only 6. There were 6 dragons you knew of, and one more hidden dragon you didn't. Like the second moon that once was lost but later was found. Although the same planet, my world, didn't have 2 moons. Now here we realize there are 2 moons, but there should only be 1. Look up at the night sky now and you will see 7 celestial bodies, 5 stars and 2 moons. 5 brother stars that correspond to the 5 colored dragons, ruling like gods over the night skies. 1 moon that corresponds with the white sky dragon, and another, darker, daughter moon to counterbalance them. The fire dragon, the water dragon, the green dragon, the earth dragon, the black dragon, the sky dragon, and 1 more. The final dragon, the dark moon dragon. The one who is to work to free the other dragons from their bondage by the Fate computer. The childs the others created on the night of the electrical storm that temporarily caused Fate to loosen its hold on them. I believe you knew her as Harl. And this is the explanation for what Harl's been doing the whole game. When Fate shut down most of its systems due to an electrical storm, and Surge was able to approach the frozen flame as a baby with Wazuki carrying him, that same day, the 6 other dragons were somewhat freed from Fate's control. They used that opportunity to imbue part of their power into a new being, a 7th dragon, Harl. And of course, Harl doesn't look like a dragon, but as Balthazar already said, the shape, the appearance the dragon gods took on was always a pseudo-guise. It wasn't a real form, it was just how they chose to appear. Harl chose a different appearance. Also, this explains why Harl didn't want Kid to shut Fate down. Back when Kid disconnected Fate and the Frozen Flame so Fate could no longer control things, Harl was asking her not to do it. The reason being, Harl, as the 7th dragon, knew if that happened, she would get sucked back in, forced to become one with the dragons again. So effectively, what Kid did maybe didn't kill Harl, but it did cause Harl to get absorbed back into the dragon god. That said, Harl working with Lynx and such to help him in his plans, you can see she was playing kind of both sides, where she was created to help the dragons get freed from fate, but she didn't really want that to happen. The dragon gods were the essence of nature on this planet. Perhaps we can consider what's happening as our planet's vengeance on us, to finally sweep away the unwanted humans from the face of this blue planet. First it was fate, now it's the planet, or vice versa. By the way you look at it, now's the time to set things right. The future of mankind, the destiny of this planet, everything depends on the next battle you will fight. But unfortunately, the time for us to part has come. Hey, mister, is that the Chrono Cross you guys have there? The Chrono Cross, the melody and harmony. It has the power to cross space and time in unity, people's thoughts and feelings, or unify people's thoughts and feelings. It has the power to transfer memories. By using it as an element, it has the power to draw on the sounds of the 6 colored elements to produce a healing harmony. It has the power to combine the sounds of the world into one melody. I'm sure we'll meet again soon, in one time period or another. Be careful now, and good luck. Now, 2 things. 1, the Ghost Kid talking about the Chrono Cross is a hint for what we need to do later in the game. Basically, to get the good ending of the game, you have to correctly use the Chrono Cross in the final battle. But 2, the second point, that exposition dump is pretty hefty, and I do wish the game would have spaced it out more, but everything he said, we kind of could have already learned and figured out by piecing things together from as we went. We didn't know all the exact details, but for instance, we did see that Harl was working for the dragon gods but didn't want to, so her being the 7th dragon kind of makes sense. The 6 dragon gods actually being one entity originally, we already knew because we saw them merge into one. The fact they're extra dimensional beings that were split up between 2 dimensions, we kind of already knew because we saw 6 dragon islands on both planets, but the dragons were only in one of each. And people even said that, like, some of the dragons had disappeared from their world. So that exposition dump, I think, is mostly okay. I wish it would have been spaced out a bit more. But that one doesn't bug me too much. The exposition dump, the next one, there's one more. That one does bug me. But we'll get to it. Anyway, here you'll be hearing tones going off. And different little crystals are lighting up to go with the tones. The Ghost Kid we just talked about the melody of, or I don't know if he said the melody of the Chrono Cross, but something about uniting the notes or songs across dimensions, healing things, talking about music. Okay, so we could go down here, but I don't know if we want to yet. But anyway, what the kid was saying, Ghost Kid that is, was saying, seems to suggest there should be something about music or melody. And now we're hearing notes played, and each note corresponds to a different color element. That is a hint on how to use the Chrono Cross correctly. Small spoiler, the correct way to use it is to use one element of each color in the right order. Then after you've used all 6, use the Chrono Cross as the 7th element. And if you do that against the final boss, you can get the good ending. There's a few different hints in the game as to how to do it, but this is the first big one. Return our trees. Give back our green forests. Oh, it acted very quickly. Info scope. Okay. Info scope is an element you can use that lets you see the HP of a target. So, because the boss is using 3 of them, 1 on each character, the boss now knows how much health each of my characters has. Obviously, that's not very relevant, but it's interesting that the boss will actually do that. $10 damage. Mind you, that was 10 damage. Oh, 57 damage. Let's see how much Aristoster deals. 28. Arrow Blaster, dear God. 103. All of that was with Stone Mail equipped. With the Prism Mail that we will be crafting the next time we go to the save point, Glenn would have taken even less damage. Heal Plus here means that the boss dropped into critical health and interrupted our action to counter with a heal. And now it's dead. Turns out when you hit for over 800 damage and the boss has like 3,000 health, the battle goes pretty quick. Also, Glenn got hit with a status ailment, but it was only the Afraid status. I honestly don't know what that one does. I think it reduces... Is it your chance to hit or your chance to dodge, maybe? I don't know. Okay. Glenn and Norse both gained strength. Glenn gained another point of agility, and Norse gained a point of magic resistance. So, yay. By the way, these bosses that we've been beating recently give us the field elements. That one was the green field. We've also gotten the red and yellow field. The reason that matters is those fields are very good at setting up summons. Normally, when you cast an element of a color, it will add 1 slot to the field of that color. Wait, is this not... Where do I go from here? Like, there's stairs down here, so I would assume I'm supposed to go this way, but am I not? Sorry, anyway, normally... Oh, my character... What is... So wait, you can walk up here, but you can't get back up to the ledge? Weird. See, to me it looks like there is a path we should be able to go through right here, but apparently not. Anyway, normally each element will change 1 slot of the field to the color of that element. The field spells will change all 3 field slots, so the entire field turns to that color. Which, 1, is just good for controlling colors, but 2, is also a very easy way to cast elements. Or, not elements, summons. Summons require the entire field be 1 color. And normally that's a headache. Am I going the wrong way now? I don't feel like I'm supposed to be backtracking. Anyway, normally summons are very strong, but they're kind of balanced out by being a headache because you have to convert the entire field to 1 color. With the field elements, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, I think I must have missed something. Let's try going back. Actually, let's fight these for mid-caps. Oh, I probably shouldn't have fought these ones. These are the ones that can deal reasonable damage and take so many actions. Oh. Look at how many turns they're taking. The reason I was using a speed up function there was just so I didn't have to watch all the animations. 3 HP for Glenn. But yeah, we will want to leave to heal up. Oh wait, no, this is not the way we want to go. Okay. So yeah, I don't see another pathway in there. I don't see another pathway here. We tried going down the stairs to the left with no luck. Did I miss something in here? Oh my god, this is a teleporter. That's what I missed. Well, I feel stupid. Surge, up there. That must be the summit. Look, those two beams coming from either side. I wonder if they act as some kind of sealing device. Okay. Well, before we save, let's go craft that extra piece of rainbow equipment. Disassemble the spectral glove. Where is that at? Okay. Now, weapons, armors. Oh, we don't have another carapace. Oh, well, we can disassemble something to get that. That's not a big deal. What can we disassemble to get a carapace? Rather not disassemble mithril. Whoa, we have a ton of them, so yeah, let's disassemble one. Alright, then we'll give this to Glenn. And then we can save. And as tedious as it may be, I do think we want to run back to heal up and get our mid-cap bonuses, so I am going to start being more liberal with the speed up function just because it's really tedious and I don't have the patience today. And this is a long backtrack we have to do. I forget if there's another shortcut that we unlock that would save us time, but I'm worried if we go any further, we'll wind up in a boss fight. This isn't the right path. Now, normally I would just fight the enemies in here for our stat gains, but Glenn is so low, I am going to need to heal before the next boss battle anyway, so if I have to leave here to heal anyway, I might as well fight easier enemies for our stat gains. Well, some of these enemies actually do meaningful damage. Alright. So HP. Ooh, winged shoes. Those are an accessory that boosts your evasion rate. Not the most valuable thing. It does. The evasion rate is the same as your agility stat. Evasion can be nice in that it can make regular attacks miss completely. The problem with it is it doesn't work against elements or techniques, so any special moves will be unaffected by it. And typically, the most damaging attacks enemies deal are special attacks. That said, if this game ever had some sort of PvP mode where different human characters, well, different like player characters fought, evasion would be the best stat in the game. The reason being, player characters have to build up their element grid to use special moves, whereas enemies don't. So if enemies miss physical attacks, it doesn't matter. Whereas if the player misses physical attacks, then that means they can't even use their special techniques. Yep, I'll admit I've given up on being a purist. Oh, wow, okay. Glenn got one of almost everything. Norris gets almost everything, but no magic resistance. Surge again, not getting strength. A little sad, but he's already at 60, so that's fine. The main thing is Glenn is going to be at 50 strength after the next boss battle, and Norris at 51. And Glenn is going to have... his resistance is only going to be 39, magic resistance 19, which means he will be the squishiest of my party. I wish he had the same defensive stats as Norris so he wouldn't take so much damage, but I don't think it should be a big deal. And just in case, though I don't think we will use either... not... Orcha, Zappa. Just checking... real quick. Yeah, none of these characters have stats high enough that I really care about. Sprig being at 43 is still kind of crazy. But anyway, just in case, we will level up Zappa and Karsh. Just in case we want to use one of them as our third slot instead of Norris. I don't think we will, but... can't hurt to take a short amount of time to level them up. Ooh, they each get a point of strength as well. Yeah, it especially doesn't hurt to take a little time to level them up if all you're doing is... or if you're using the turbo feature. Okay, oops. Alright, so they've gotten all their mid-caps. We move on. Go to Arnie, heal up, then go back to Terror Tower for the next boss. Wait. Yeah, the next boss should be the blue boss, I believe. Wait, is that... yeah, we haven't beaten the blue boss yet, right? Because the first one is the yellow one, then it was the red one, then it was the green one. So we still have the blue, white, and black ones. The white and black can be done in either order, but they have to be done after the blue one. So yeah, the next boss should be the blue one. Okie dokie. I'm a little sad Surge didn't get a point of strength again. Because even though his strength is already obscenely high, it would be so hilarious if I just got, like, you know, strength every battle and wound up at, like, 70 strength by the end of the game, even though that'd be insane luck. Honestly, at this point, more strength isn't going to change much. The difference between, like, 60 and 62 strength is not going to be very relevant in terms of damage. But it would be cool just to see the number go higher. And isn't there something just primordial about the enjoyment we get in seeing numbers go up? I think there is. Alright. Okay, so we come over here. Yeah, having to run back to town to heal is a big headache. And at this point in the run, it's not really adding anything to the run. So a tiny part of me wants to kind of cheat like I am with the speed up feature and just use elements to heal out of combat. But I could not do that. The speed up feature isn't strictly cheating because that's not against the rules, but using elements, even when it doesn't really matter, is. Alright, please move on my way, thing. Cool. So there's what, just 2 more rooms, then we get back to the teleporter? Yeah. Right, then up. And we'll save again. That way we don't have to run back through all those areas if for some reason we need to reload. And I'll be honest, I don't even remember what equipment I have on Norse. So... Wait. Have I already beaten the blue boss, or... Or is the blue boss the last one? Or is there no blue boss? There's a blue boss, right? I'm not crazy. Am I? Because I thought there was a white boss on one side, a black boss on the other. Now feel like I'm tripping balls. I must be misremembering this. Anyway, this should be the white boss, I believe. I really should be using a speed up feature in areas that we haven't been before because, you know, can't really see things. Now that crystal to me looks green. Oh no, this is the black boss, but it's in front of a green area. That's so confusing. So the doorway to this boss had a bunch of white light coming out. Then we see a green crystal, a green ground. And then we find a black boss. That's weird, man. Weird. Oh my god. 1,300 damage. Of course, we deal extra damage because he's a black Nate. But, dear god, man. That's insane damage. Well, wasn't that boss exciting? Hey! Line up to 50 strength, Norse to 51. Black Hole. Now of note, when we defeat that boss, we get the Black Hole element, not a turn black, or a black field element. An interesting thing about this game is the game, while it has red, blue, yellow, and green field elements to help you set up summons, it does not have those for black or white. Not entirely certain why, but okay. So we could leave the dungeon to go farm mini stat gains again. I don't think I want to. I think I'll just fight some enemies in here. Because we're going to have to do it again shortly after. That said, I don't want to fight these... What are they? Myoxamites? I think those are the Myoxamites. Anyway, those are the ones that were dealing pretty decent damage to us with their white element, or white technique / all. So instead, let's go see if we can fight some other enemies. Part of me is tempted to just skip grinding stats because I don't think they'll matter. But I would be so frustrated with myself if I got to the final couple bosses and then kept dying by really small margins because I didn't take the time to grind. But yeah, if this spawns without the blobs on either side, it's a really easy battle. It spawned with them, unfortunately. Yeah, the cytoplasms. Oh, wow. Uses meteor shower? For almost no damage, fortunately. But it did apply fatigued, which is a pain. Though I guess not that much of a pain since we only needed a 2 to kill it anyway. A 1 should be plenty. Nice. HP, HP. Man, it's been so long since I fought the Dragon God that I genuinely don't remember what its attack patterns are like. I remember the general nature of it in that it has 7 forms, 1 for each color, and then I think the white form repeats itself. But each form has its own attack pattern. Photon ray, okay. Ectoplasm. Wait, I thought it was called cytoplasm. Did I mix that up? Or is maybe one is cytoplasm and the other ectoplasm? I'll have to look next time we go into this fight. 2 HP, 2 HP. A defender. That gives, like, I think plus 3 physical defense? Something like that. Might be plus 2. Oh god, I really don't want to fight those guys, but I have to fight something and I don't want to run too far away. Oh well. Yeah, I just really don't want to have to leave the dungeon to farm stat gains. So some more HP, not what we're looking for. By the way, I don't think I'm going to bother leveling up Zappa or Karsh. I think we've done that enough. And to be frank, I'm just bored of grinding. Okay, more HP, but nothing else. Are we not going to get any bigger stats, or do I just need to fight more battles? Not sure. Okay, so not that way. Hey, come back here. Oh, these are cupoids, not the myoxamites. That's right. I forget which ones the myoxamites are. Okay. So, strength for Glenn and Norris, plus resistance and magic resistance for both. Surge only getting HP sucks, but it's not surprising since his strength is so obscenely high right now. So after the next battle, Glenn will have 52 strength, Norris 53, and then they'll have 41, 21 magic resistance, and then 48 and 28. Alright, that should be plenty. But yeah, Norris getting all of these defensive stats is actually kind of nice. Because his role in the battles is probably going to be just to take hits. So him getting as tanky as possible appeals me. Oh. Did these enemies respawn or did I not kill all of them? By the way, in a casual playthrough, I would never recommend grinding all of these level ups like I'm doing. Not only is it very tedious, it's also just not necessary at all. And just in case, let's make a backup. That way we have the option to go back and grind stackings on Zappa and Karsh if we want. I really should have been making backups as I went, in case I wanted to like re-roll stackings or other things. Ooh. That's an interesting little thing. But if this is the white boss, why is it using wind? I would have thought that'd be like the yellow boss's gimmick. Oh. Then again, I guess the white boss is the sky dragon. Or the white dragon was anyway. So I guess it is tied to the air. I'm just used to white being presented more as like holy, not wind. But okay. Luxitor. Notice we don't do anywhere near as much damage as we did to the black one because because the black takes way more damage for being elemental weaknesses. Also, Glenn just took a big chunk of damage. Wonder what that would have been if he didn't have the rainbow mail equipped. Alright, so we got the boss to critical health. And we know that because he used the healing move. That interrupted our turn, in fact. Now we have done more damage than it just healed. Ooh, but it's not quite dead. Magnify. Omega White. This is actually a little worrying. Search is white though, so he's not going to take bonus damage like when he was Lynx, but Glenn might die here. Wait, did that really just one-shot Norris? Holy. Okay. We're going to have to restart that. What equipment does Norris have that he got one shot? I think he gets one shot just regardless of equipment. Yeah, he doesn't have the, what's it called? Rainbow armor. But he has a helmet, moon glasses. You know, let's give him the memento pendant. That'll lower his offensive power a little, but it will make him a bit tankier against magic attacks. But I think the main thing is we need to aim to just kill it before it uses Omega White. That said, that was pretty impressive. I think the Mega White hit for, what was it, like 530? Or something like that? And that's through the moon glasses, so... We may deal crazy damage to these bosses, but that doesn't mean they are no threat. Now, I do think he can only use Omega White if he turns the entire field white. So I think normally the way you play around that move isn't to be tankier, it's to keep him from ever using it. And we will attempt that same strategy, but we won't attempt it by manipulating the field, we'll attempt it by just hopefully killing it before it gets a chance. Oh, unlucky miss. It should heal now. Oh wait, did we not knock it into critical health? Alright, Norris is gonna take some damage. Not too much though. Okay, now it goes to heal. We'll use another 3 with Surge. Then hopefully 3-3 finishes it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if it had gotten another turn there, I think it would have used Magnify and Mega White and one-shot somebody again, so. The enemies here are still a threat, as we're seeing. Surge getting 10 health is actually pretty nice. But, Ultra Nova. Seriously, did we already beat the blue boss, or is it next? Or is there just no blue boss? I don't remember fighting one at all. But, like, we're at this, or we're approaching the summit. And I thought that's where we would fight the Dragon God. I guess one way to find out would be to check if we have... wait. Oh, yeah. Let's check if we have the blue field element. Nope, see, red field, green field, yellow field, no blue field. So yeah, we haven't fought the blue boss yet. By the way, if you couldn't tell, when the wind's blowing us, the game's kind of trying to blow us into these enemies that are standing there. And if we walk into them, we get in a fight. I thought it would die to a single 3, but I guess the field having 2 black slots meant it wouldn't. Anyway, we are going to just fight these guys so we can avoid having to leave the tower to farm stats. And then we'll try fighting the next boss without healing and see if that works out. Ooh. Hey, here's the Myoxamites. I couldn't remember what enemies they were, I just remember the name. But yeah, they kind of look like angels, so do the Kupoids. So I think that's why I mixed up their names. Anyway, Myoxamites are not dangerous, really, so maybe I shouldn't have bothered running. It was more instinct than anything of when I saw 3 enemies just leave. Alright, that's 2 battles. Point of HP is not much, but let's keep going. So yeah, I guess the blue boss is just the last one. I don't want to fight those things. And I guess it just comes after the white and black ones. Huh. Honestly, I would have sworn that you fight the yellow, red, green, and blue ones first, then you fight... Yeah, yellow, red, blue, and green ones first, then you fight the white, black on either side, but maybe not. Anyway. HP. I think we only need to fight 1 or 2 more battles, and then we'll get any larger stat gains we're gonna get. Hey. I want to... Stop blowing me away from him. I want to fight him. It's like, stop trying to prevent me from falling into your trap. I want to walk into it intentionally. No stat gain. Huh. Well, that's 2 battles in a row with no stat gains. I wonder if that means we're not getting any bigger stats this level. It might. Alright. Looks like we've gotten all we're gonna get. It just being HP is a little sad, but we are at the point where the individual points and stats probably aren't going to make much difference. Yeah, all the scaling in this game is done linear, at least for individual stats. So the difference between 10 and 20 strength is the same as the difference between 20 and 30 strength. So, if going up one strength, say from 20 to 21 gives you plus 10 damage, then going from 30 to 31 would also give you plus 10 damage. So, relatively speaking, once you're at like 60 strength, your individual points don't matter much. Disrespecting the origins of life. Mother Sea suffers, you must pay the price. I guess with blue representing water and life starting off in the ocean, it kind of makes sense that the blue boss would be the last one. $800 on each swing is pretty nice. Alright. Let's see how many times it moves now. Dear Lord. Okay. Yep, so we knocked it low enough that it uses its heal counterattack. Hit it again. Now, if both of these threes hit, I think it dies. Oh, only one of them needed to hit. Incidentally, before we were dealing like 790 damage per 3. There we did about 890. Reason for the 90-point increase is that black slot that was on the field got pushed out when the boss used all those blue elements. Also, wait, did it not use a single offensive move? It really didn't. Huh. Okay. Hey, Surge is up to 61 strength. Glenn got a point of agility and resistance. Norse is up to 54 strength, 49 resist. And we get the blue element. The yellow, red, green, blue, black, white. Now that is supposed to be giving you insight as to the order to cast elements in the final boss. Is there somewhere to go over here or nah? Alright. Well, let's go save real quick, and do we want to run out of the tower to heal up and fight for stat gains? Let's check something real quick. Norse is missing a decent chunk of HP, but tell you what, let's give him the Earring of Light. There it is. Glenn and Surge are at full health, so right now, we just need to fight a few battles for stat gains, and then heal up. Or, and with the Earring of Light, we can do both at the same time. So what we're going to do is run back. Actually, we might be able to fight the enemies on the right side again. Let's see if we can. Yeah, there's some here to fight. Cool. Every battle we have the Earring of Light equipped for. Glenn's going to start the battle with like an extra 25% HP. So that should let him recover his health to full pretty quickly. Cytoplasm. Okay, there are two separate enemies. One's cytoplasm, one's ectoplasm. Surge did take a point of damage there, but the Masamune will regenerate him. Alright. So now everyone is at full except Norse, who's at 443. 444. And now he's up to 497. So he's gained 45 HP by starting this battle. Oh. Okay, so a 1-2 doesn't kill us. I need a 1-3 or a 2-2. Good to know. Bit more max HP for them. I think Norse will be at full health after the next battle. Oh, he's at more than full health. Cool. I don't want to fight those ones. The Cupoids can use that Slash Shawl spell, which deals pretty decent damage given they're just random enemies. Ah, get away, get away, get away. Yeah, I want to fight the guys who are posed as statues, not you guys who are moving around. Alright. Ah, fine, sure. Okie dokie. Wait, I don't think it needs to be 1-3. I think just the 3 would have killed it. I missed, so I didn't get to find out. Oh, wait, no, it was just a 3 would kill when in the other rooms where the field didn't have 2 black slots. That's what we learned. I wonder if this is going to be another time where we don't get stackings. I also wonder if some of these times where we didn't get stackings, what it really was just that I needed to do like 5 more battles to get them. Also, look at Norse having 581 HP. When you get it, the Earring of Light isn't very impressive, but when you get later in the game, it does give you a surprising amount of bonus HP. Enemy using spell to buff their magic defense is adorable. Alright, we'll do one more battle, and then we'll go save and try to fight the penultimate boss. Zero damage. That's adorable. It's funny that regular enemies can so often deal like 0 or 1 point of damage. And then one boss can just Omega White us for like 550 damage and one-shot a character. Ooh, glad we did that extra battle. Point of resistance for Surge, strength resistance, magic resistance for Glenn, strength and resistance for Norse. Okay, okay. Definitely glad we fought those battles. Man, on the one hand, I always assumed it would be impossible to beat this next boss, the penultimate boss of the game. On the other hand, I never thought I would make it this far into the run, so a small part of me is starting to get hopeful. And I'm worried I'm setting myself up for disappointment. Well, let's see. Man, if we beat this boss on the first run, or first attempt, I will just die of shock. I don't think there's any chance we will, but it would be so funny if we did. But yeah, I believe its first phase is white, then it cycles through all 6 colors once, so you fight the white form twice. Alrighty. For a second, I thought the walls were platforms we could walk over to. But no. Now we are at the summit where well, approaching the summit. Stop it. Kill me. Welcome. Welcome, humans. Those who know the torment and joy of creation know also the pleasure and pain of destruction. Therefore, all that pass through here must be prepared to share the burden that I didn't catch the last word. Now, you might have noticed the dialogue there is written in a very interesting way. First, we get a couple messages on the side saying things like, kill me, suggesting someone is in pain. Then we get a line that says, well, come, as two separate words in capital letters. Remember, the first messages saying things like kill me were all in capital letters. But then the game switches to lowercase letters and talks in an entirely different tone. That is, in fact, important for the game's story, if you ask me. And I'll talk about it more later. The Frozen Flame. What's it doing here? Last we saw it was in Chronopolis. So this is the true Frozen Flame. Struth. Or Sistruth. I don't know how you pronounce it. Hold on. Don't touch it. Is everyone okay? By the way, Kid is so important to this story, she does just show up here, even if you don't bring her. Bugger. Us humans ain't gonna let you have your way any longer. Come on, show your bloody self. In order to survive, all living things in this world fight desperately and devour those they defeat. Must one kill kill other living things in order to survive? Must one destroy another world in order to allow one's own world to continue? The wounded in turn wound and torment those weaker than they themselves are. There are only the killers and the killed, the sinners who are judged, and the victims that do the judging. What meaning is there to such a world? Whether there's meaning to our lives or not, we still go on living, you know? You got no right to deny that. I shall cleanse this blue planet of you filthy humans once and for all. Now, there's a couple things about this text that are really interesting to me. The main one being it is much more philosophical than anything any of the dragons ever said. It's also not in capital letters, and it's not showing the same hatred for humans as the dragons did. The dragons spoke in all caps and were all about, we hate you, you're our enemy, we're gonna kill you. This dragon god is called the Time Devourer. We don't know why yet, but it is much more introspective and thoughtful. And it's interesting because that is actually, in my opinion, crucial to the game's plot. So that's about 700 damage. That's another 900 damage for 16. So we did 7. I believe this boss has 10 AP. So that should be 8, 9. And then we should be able to push for 2 3s here. Oh, that's right. When we deal enough damage, it switches modes, and that'll automatically interrupt our attack. So we beat the first phase. Not a big deal. Here, though, you see we took 0 damage. That's cool. Three, 6, 9. Now we double 3. It's going to switch modes again. I forgot. I think this mode change counts as its turn. So once it does it, its AP will reset to 10 or whatever it is. So I wonder if we could repeat this cycle somewhat consistently. If so, that would be hilarious. Okay, so we miss. Let's go 3, 3. So that's 9. We'll push to 15. Okay, now it gets an action because we missed. Now, Magma Bomb obviously does negligible damage. Aeroseltzer I don't think will hit very hard either. But I forget. Is that the level 4 green one? Ice Lance? Okay. I believe Ice Lance is the level 4 blue element. But still, not much. Thinking, is there a way I can push this and leave us with good stamina next? Or not push it, but force it to transform? Okay, cool. I haven't been tracking my damage, so I wasn't sure. My worry there was that I was going to use like 3 or 4 stamina surge and then it would transform. But this way, we do have the stamina to do a 3-3. What the fuck was that? The damage we dealt there was insane. Okay, maybe this boss is not quite as problematic as I thought. So that's 4. We could 1-3-3 here, but that would only be 11. So let's what? We can go up to 8. So let's do a 2-2. 1-3-3. Not even close. What was I thinking? This boss is easy. I'm not totally jinxing myself and about to wipe in one go. Okay, see, he just did a lot more damage in that phase change there. Glenn lost, what is that, 9? Yeah, Glenn lost like 109 HP. Surge lost, I don't want to do the math, but 84 HP. Oh, and... Oh, never mind. That wasn't a phase change. That was it taking its turn. Okay. For some reason, I thought we had caused a phase change, and that's what made me take the damage. But no, that was just its attack. Wait, is this the second to last form? It might be. I don't remember. So that was 6. 8, 9, and then we push. Oh, unfortunate that we missed both of those. Actually, we missed all 3 if you include the 1. I think we only needed 1 of those to hit to force it into the next mode, but whatever. Okay, so that's 7, 8. Changes modes again. Does this go to the white mode? I think it does. Okay. This is its last form, by the way. We've dealt 1,600 damage. 1,700. We just need like 200 more damage and it dies. Sorry, I tried to mute my mic. I started cackling like a hyena. I hope I didn't blow anyone's ears out. I don't know how to react. We just beat the penultimate boss with it, I think, attacking Ola twice. I mean, technically, one of its attacks was to use 3 elements, so you could call that 3, but yeah, I think it only took 2 turns. No, wait. 3 turns. It had the 1 turn where it used, like, yellow, no, green, red, and blue elements, I think. Had a turn where it attacked with something I thought was a phase change, and then it had the free fall. So yeah, we just killed the penultimate boss with it only taking 3 actions. So Glenn and Norse both get a point of strength and a point of resistance. Glenn also gets magic resistance. Surge gets resistance. An earring of hope. Oh my god. I might actually have to walk away for a second. Now I shall truly awaken again. And no, there, I didn't catch the second line. I forget what it says. But when it says truly awaken again, that is a big hint as to why I was talking about the dialogue before the fight and why it matters so much. That thing, the Dragon God, is only a quasi-existence, a temporary form that the real Dragon God uses in order to appear within this dimension. The actual Dragon God was consumed long ago in the distant past, integrated by the entity known as Lavos in a time on the other side of the dimensional darkness. And there is the needle drop, or, the big thing. We did not just fight the Dragon God, we fought Lavos, who was possessing the Dragon God's body. When we saw the messages saying things like, kill me, that was the remnants of the dragon struggling against Lavos' control. And that's why his dialogue started off in all caps and said, welcome, in all caps as 2 words. And then the next line switched to lowercase and said, welcome, as 1 word. That was Lavos fully taking over the Dragon God and then speaking to us as a player. And I think that's so cool and an underappreciated part of this game is Lavos, the villain of Chrono Trigger, actually talks to us in Chrono Cross and basically talks about the philosophy of, is killing people really that bad a thing since all living beings have to kill in order to survive? Effectively, what Chrono Cross did was present Lavos in a way that said, hey, yeah, he was your enemy, but was he really the bad guy? Or was he just another life form trying to get by like all of us? And when I say all of us, I mean all of us except for Fargo. Fargo is a slave owner. We don't play with that. The Frozen Flame is a splinter from the extraterrestrial being Lavos. The one who connects with the Frozen Flame, in effect, links with Lavos itself. As the mediator between Lavos and living things, that one will gain extraordinary powers. By binding with the new seed of destruction, the Devourer of Time. What in the blazes is a devourer of time? Now, go to the place where the time became divided and weave the threads of time together again. Chrono Trigger. The Devourer of Time is a new life form, born out of the fusion of a life form from the planet with Lavos, who nests on the far side of the dimensional void. In the far-off future, when the fusion becomes complete, it will awaken. Then, the Devourer of Time will begin to consume all space-time continua. Despair and hatred, to return all things to nothingness. That is what it desires. It in capital letters. Here, take this with you. We received the Time Egg. That Time Egg will enable you to travel beyond space-time. I thought Kid had the Time Egg, and that's why Masamune were able to send us back in time to save her. Oh, no, she had a pendant, which is similar to the Time Egg, like built with similar technology. The world is in your hands. Go, release the life that is imprisoned. So, I said if we beat this boss on our first try, I might die of shock. Not gonna lie, I know I cackled a little like a hyena when I first did it, but I do think I am still just so in shock that I'm not like fully reacting, because I mean, it wasn't even that I beat it on the first try, it was that it was so easy. We had so much damage, we were able to force it through each of its modes, and every time it changed a mode, it had to skip a turn because its mode change was considered a turn. Ripey, what in bloody hell is happening? This place is going to crumble to pieces. So yeah, if the boss had gotten more turns, we probably would have died. So if the mode change didn't oh wait, let's watch this. That is so cool looking. Not entirely certain why it transformed now, but it does look awesome. So that's the Terror Tower's true final form. In the end, we're all the same. Everyone dreams of being greater, more powerful. We have come this far. All that remains is to defeat the Devourer of Time. Once we wipe the Devourer of Time off the face of this planet, it's all over. Hopefully everything returns back to normal again. You're wrong. Things will never go back to the way they were. Destiny, fate, is dead. From now on, us humans have to choose our own way in life. We also have to take responsibilities for the choices we make. And something's got to be done about the way we go on hurting and killing one another. We got to settle our differences once and for all. Listen, what's really important is what we do now. The issue ain't whether we can defeat that bastard or not. I'm afraid that, depending on how we go about it, we could lose out on gaining something real precious. So the issue is the way we fight. So where on earth is the real Devourer Time? My guess is the key to finding it lies at that beach. That's where this whole thing started. It's also probably where this whole thing will end. Okay. So Kid there was saying that it's not just about beating the boss that we're going to fight, it's about how we beat it. And that is very true. There's a good and bad ending. Unfortunately, we don't have an option. We have to get the bad ending in this run. But we'll find out more about that in a second. Let's go fight some random enemies for the last time. I don't know if we'll actually gain any stats or not. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's fight one more battle. Nope, looks like we won't. Cool. So now we're going to go heal. And then I am going to run to the bathroom. And I think I'm going to pour myself a shot to celebrate the easiest battle we've had against a boss in a while. Not. I mean, it kind of was the easiest, though. I mean, the black boss, the yellow boss, and maybe the red boss. No, even the blue one. Okay, never mind. Yeah, a lot of the bosses in Terror Tower were easier, but we actually had a reset because the white boss one-shot one of our party members. Then we get to the penultimate boss, the boss with like 14,000 HP or whatever, and we just casually kill him, barely taking like 200 damage on any character. Mind you, the reason for that is it all comes down to how that boss works. He has 1900 health in each mode, and every time he does a mode change, it counts as taking a turn. So if you can deal 1900 damage before he takes a turn, he basically doesn't get to take a single action in that mode. And that's all we were taking advantage of. If I remember right, he has a lot of powerful attacks, but it requires him get 2 or 3 turns in a single mode. And of course, that didn't happen. We got an Earring of Hope, which I believe is just a stronger version of the Earring of Light that we already had equipped. So let's go ahead and put it on, and then I'll save. And then I am going to run to the bathroom and grab a drink. I have some pretty nice vodka. I think that's what I'm going to have for my shot. And it's not even going to be a shot. I'm just going to pour some in a glass and sip it, because if you have good alcohol, you should never do it as a shot. That's just sacrilegious. Anyway, I will be right back. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. I spilled a little when I was pouring my drink. There was a bit of plastic on the lip of the bottle, and I had to clean up the mess that left. So now we just have one boss left, and unfortunately this boss doesn't have a similar gimmick we can exploit. Oh wait, we have to go to the other world. Back to Homeworld. But yeah, I still cannot believe we took down the penultimate boss in one round. That's insane. Or not one round, but one attempt. Who's that? And this is the one part of the game in terms of its story that I think is genuinely bad in terms of pacing. We did get a couple plot or exposition dumps before, but here we get a really, really long one. I think it's just because of the game being rushed. But anyway, we're going to learn a lot more about the plot now. So you finally made it, Serge. When did this story tale all begin? Was it 10 years ago when you almost drowned here? Or was it 14 years ago when you were wounded by that panther demon that attacked you, resulting in you being carried to Chronopolis where you came into contact with fate, the frozen flame? Or perhaps it was even 2,400 years in the future when the time crash hurled Chronopolis back to prehistoric times. Or even could it have been 12,000 BC when an ancient magical kingdom met its end after trying to use Lavos? Each is close to being correct, and yet, at the same time, so far from the right answer. The true beginning was during the destruction of the ancient kingdom of Zeal. As the palace collapsed around her, Princess Shala was sucked into a dimensional vortex along with the Lavos Mammon machine. Shala and Lavos became unified into one even more powerful entity that would evolve into the Devourer of Time. Filled with the hatred and sadness of Lavos, half of Shala's mind became set on destroying all of existence. Yet at the same time, the other half of her mind desired to save the universe and to be rescued herself. As Shala fell through the time gate in this condition, she heard your crying echoing throughout time. This is when her story and yours began to intertwine. It's also when the past and the future began to intersect, and when the worlds became divided into two. Led by the pitiful crying, the young Surge made as the Panther Demon's poison took hold of him. Princess Shala traveled 10,000 years in time to try and make contact with this dimension. This caused a raging magnetic storm that resulted in Fate's system malfunction, which led Surge to the frozen flame. Yes, Surge. The sound of your crying touched the heart of Princess Shala. Before the destructive mindset could become dominant, she cloned herself and sent her copy into this dimension. Shala left her baby daughter clone with her ancient pendant, possessing magical powers. This was to safeguard her daughter clone in life and death situations. The pendant would rewind time a little, sending her daughter clone into a safer point in the immediate past. Either way, nothing changes who you have become. You're still my precious little sister, kid. And now, about Project Kid, the time control project Balthazar planned out. Okay, so what we're seeing here is in Chrono Trigger, there's a point where Lavos and Shala get sucked into some sort of portal thing. What we're finding out now is when that happened, the two fused into one being, which is now called the Time Devourer. It exists outside of time and space, and is threatening to destroy all existence, not just our world, but everything. Shala's mind is being corrupted or merged into Lavos, and that happens, she's becoming filled with hatred, rage, all the negative feelings Lavos has. And so she's with Lavos wanting to destroy all existence. We already saw that in the dialogue we had back at Terra Tower. But before her mind was completely merged with Lavos, she somehow, and this is a big part where it's just like, how, cloned herself and created a physical embodiment of the clone in the form of Kid, the character we know. So when Masa and Mune recognized Kid as the princess, they were talking about Princess Shala because Kid was a clone of Shala. And now, about Project Kid, the time control project Balthazar planned out. The whole project existed to lead you to this one special point in time. The founding of Chronopolis, the time crash, and the battle between Fate and the Dragon Gods. It was all coordinated so that you would get your hands on the Chrono Cross and come to this place. Here is an interesting exposition thing. A lot of people, I mentioned previously, there was a line of dialogue from Balthazar where he was talking about plans and whatever. And he said, you may think that I really blew it, but perhaps it was my finest hour. That is one of two lines I usually see cited for the idea that Balthazar manipulated everything, all of history, in some mastermind 10, 12D chess thing. The other line is this, where it says, it was all coordinated to that so that you would get your hands on the Chrono Cross and come to this place. People would often cite this line, where it says coordinated, as proof that Balthazar had everything planned out in advance. I've never bought that explanation, and I don't think it fits the text, because the word coordinated doesn't mean planned out in advance. You coordinate all sorts of things that are ongoing. My read of this game has always been that Balthazar did experiments trying to figure out a way to save Shala, and as his experiments led to results, he then went and, traveled time or whatever he needed to do to keep meddling with things. So when he talked to us in this game, he was manipulating us, but that wasn't like a plan he had for thousands of years or anything. It was just, hey, I did a bunch of experiments, caused, Fate, Chronopolis, and then the Inopolis to appear in the past, traveled back in time, saw what's going on, and then made further plans, did more things. In other words, Balthazar is manipulating everything as they go. Like, he's trying to control things as they progress, but it wasn't part of some grand master scheme where he controlled everything for all of history. And this, anyway, it's not an important version, but this is just one of two lines in the game that I think offer any support to the idea. And that idea has been accepted as just gospel truth within the Chrono Cross community for a long time, and I hate it. And I think a big part of why it was accepted as truth is the largest fan site, a site called Chrono Compendium, posts that it is true, absolute, and everyone reads that and just accepts it's true. And I just, because I'm here and thinking about it, I don't think it's true. Not that it's really important. Anyway, of course, Kid was not to know anything about this whole plan until later, when blah blah would all finish. Further in the future, Kid is meant to travel back 10 years in time from now to save Surge from drowning. And then, Kid was also meant to call Surge into the other world as he spoke with Lena here on Apasa Beach. This is another part where it's just exposition dump heavy. How did Surge survive being drowned in the past? Because a kid from the future travels back and saves him the same way Surge traveled back to save Kid at the burning orphanage. I like the parallels. I think it's good, but like that's a pretty big deal. We don't see it. It's just in a couple sentences of text. This ending is definitely very rushed, and it's unfortunate. Anyway, you're our last hope, our final chance. Only you, who came into contact with Shala and Kid, Shala's clone daughter, can do it. But also the idea that Kid is the one who summoned Surge into the other world at the start of the game is such a big deal, and we never see any hint that it's actually true. And the darkness that exists on the other side of time, Shala has been integrated with the Devourer of Time. Please, Surge, release Princess Shala from the binds of the monster and her own hatred. Show us the life forms that exist on this planet, what our new future will be. That's a lot of text, but we still have more. A new species is about to be born on this planet, an alien life form even more evolved than the old Lavos. At the darkness beyond time, the weakened Shala came under the influence of Lavos, and the two entities became one entity. It is now up to you, the one whom the frozen flame has chosen as its arbiter. You alone can decide how the new Lavos, which is encaged Shala within it, will evolve from here. Your actions will determine whether in the future all time is devoured by Lavos, sending the world into everlasting death. Balthazar foresaw this was going to happen in his world in the year 2300. Now this is basically where we see what Balthazar's original game plan was. Back in the year 2300, when he started all of his experiments, he somehow figured out that Shala and Lavos had merged in one entity in the extra dimensional space they were at. And he knew that eventually, since they were extra dimensional beings, they would come back and Lavos would keep trying to consume everything like it had in the past. He wanted to find a way to save Shala, so he started doing experiments. And he was determined to prevent it from happening, no matter what it took. The Chronocross. It alone can combine the sounds of the planet that the 6 types of elements produce. The melody and harmony that brim within all life forms. Use the song of life to heal her enmity and suffering. We entreat you, Surge. Please save Shala. Spoiler, we will not save Shala. We will, unfortunately, kill her. Where even angels lose their way. 10 years ago, you died at this very spot. There's no mistake, you drowned. The truth is, this world in which you are still alive is the irregularity. This is the false reality. Now, this is a big deal. 1 second, I need to check. Okay, sorry. I was having a bit of a technical issue, but I think it's resolved. 10 years ago, it was Lynx who tried to kill you at this beach. After Prometheus broke the link between Fate and the Flame, Fate tried to eliminate any obstacle that stood in its way. In the meantime, the 6 dragons had sent Harold forth to try and gain possession of the Flame. Harold made contact with Fate's biological incarnation, Lynx, and tricked him into temporarily joining forces. The elimination of the Prometheus Circuit's lock on the Frozen Flame was everyone's top priority. Lynx and Harl abducted Luca, who alone could release the Prometheus lock that guarded the flame. But the whole attempt only ended in failure. Then, they just waited for you to appear. You see, Fate calculated that you would one day cross the dimensions and try to make contact with the flame. I don't know how to break this to you, but Lynx was actually your father, Wazuki. This is, again, a major plot point that we just don't have any time to explore because the game is too rushed. This this whole scene is a major exposition dump, and it is a big reason why Chrono Cross gets a lot of hate for its plot, and I totally get it. I think up to this point it was fine, even though the Balthazar exposition dump in Terror Tower was a bit much. But I think everything prior to this beach was built up and hinted at and foreshadowed, where a lot of this stuff just really wasn't. Drawing closer to the flame caused him to become unstable, and the image of you dying in terror changed him completely. Finally, after his psyche totally eroded, he lost his soul and was easily integrated by Fate. Fate turned Wazuki into a biological interface, modeling him after your worst fear at the time, a panther. Although Wazuki managed to escape from Chronopolis with you, he later completely succumbed to Fate. Humans are such fragile, disjointed, imperfect things. Love and hate, life and death. Perhaps even Fate itself dreamed of using the flame to someday reincarnate itself into a new species. It is quite sad, really. It's like when you gaze into the flame gazes back into you. But that's the game's plot pretty much summed up. Now we just have to fight the final boss, and all that's left is what we learn of the future, depending on which ending we get. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the good ending, but that's alright. No beginning and no end to the darkness of time. Could this be the final gate which leads to the darkness of time? I guess this is finally it. I have no regrets. I am responsible for my own actions. It is time to bring this chapter to an end and create a brighter future. But yeah, for the most part, I think the game's plot is handled reasonably well. And there's just like two or three big plot threads that we get dropped on us at this ending beach scene that I think the game really needed time to explore and deal with. But also, you can see Shala in her kid form is there. Anyway, just to go over the plot real quick, as I understand it, back in Chrono Trigger, the party traveled through time in order to stop Lavos, an alien entity, from destroying the world. During that, Shala fell through a dimensional vortex which took her somewhere, nobody knew where. Then, when we destroyed Lavos and changed the future, the bad future that we got rid of got shunted off into what they call the darkness beyond time. Some sort of extra dimensional space, which as it happened, was where Shala was at. So Shala and Lavos were in the same area. Lavos started consuming her, with the plan of just using her powers combined with his to travel through the dimensions, come back to reality, and consume all of reality. That part, pretty simple and straightforward. Nothing too complicated, as long as you played Chrono Trigger. What gets tricky is, after that happened, and after Chrono Trigger ended, Balthazar learned somehow of Lavos and Shala merging in. I mean, he was studying time travel, knew a lot about science and magic, probably found some way to, like, peek beyond the dimensions or something. It's not explained how he learned, but it's not that big a deal. Anyway, he figures out that the two are starting to merge and that they're going to come back and kill everything. He decided to try to stop it, so he started doing a bunch of time experiments. At one point, he set up an experiment, which later became the quote-unquote time crash, in which Chronopolis got dragged back into the past because, presumably, Lavos, the time crash, Chronopolis is traveling through time. It's unclear, what exactly the experiment was, but basically it became unmoored from time. Lavos somehow sucked it into the past, like 10,000 years ago. The planet, which had already been manipulating events in Chrono Trigger to fight Lavos, saw what Lavos did and responded by sucking Dinopolis in from another dimension into the past as a counterbalance. Now, this is the first big part that's a bit weird, because why is there another dimension where Dinopolis is a thing? How could the planet suck an entire city from an alternate future? None of that's explained. We don't get an answer. But at the same time, it fits because Chrono Trigger showed us that the planet had the ability to create time portals and manipulate the events of the entire game, and it's never explained how. So it's weird that we don't get an explanation of how that works, but it's also just that's how Chrono Trigger was, so Chrono Cross accepts the same framework. After Dinopolis and Chronopolis get pulled into the past, the two go to war. Chronopolis wins, and Fate, its supercomputer, separates the Dragon God, which had been basically the Dinopolis version of Fate, some sort of biological machine that was controlling Dinopolis, separated it into 6 smaller beings that were each weaker. These beings and the original Dragon God were somehow extra dimensional. I don't think we get a real explanation on how that is. But my presumption is, because Dinopolis came from an alternate future, that future was probably in the same Darkness Beyond Time that the Lavos timeline was. And maybe that's how Lavos found it or something. Not entirely clear on that point. But anyway, when Fate split them apart, all 6 of them were just chilling. trying to figure out a way to get free of Fate's control, kill Fate, and become the Dragon God again. Shala, while she was being merged with Lavos, and this is where things get convoluted and weird to me, was kind of losing her mind, and in her last moments of sanity, heard Surge's cries as he was dying and tried to save his life. That caused the Chronopolis systems to all go down by creating an electrical storm. Surge winds up at Chronopolis, finds a frozen flame because Wazuki carries him to it. Surge gets healed by the flame. Wazuki gets corrupted by it, eventually becoming Lynx, but not till later. They go back, and then the events of the game happen as we see it. That's, I think, covers pretty much everything. But yeah, it is definitely convoluted when you start getting to that last part. Oh, and I'm sorry. When Shala created that storm, she also created a clone of her who was Kid and sent Kid into the world. Now, why that is a whole thing, I genuinely can't tell you. That's 9 AP, so let's assume it has 10. But yeah, how Shala can create a clone and send it into our world, I can't explain. That's just weird to me. But it's just the game kind of says it's a thing she could do because she had magic powers. But yeah, I don't think the game is anywhere near as convoluted as people like to make out, but it definitely gets weird and wild later on. Alright, so that's 1,000. It's interesting that Glenn is dealing more damage than Surge here, but that's because the field is 2 parts green and the boss is white. An enemy being the same color as you means you don't benefit from the field color boost, and it means that I'm sorry, it means you don't benefit from the field power boost, so if there are white spots on the field, it wouldn't help Surge's power. But also, when a character attacks, they normally get a +1 buff, or +1/8 damage, because their physical attack matches the innate they are, because, of course the physical attack matches your own innate. The reason for that being, so if a character uses an element of their own innate, it would get a damage buff. Well, that gets negated if you're fighting an enemy of the same type. So normally, all physical attacks have a +1/8 damage boost, and Surge is missing out on that. And then Glenn is getting 3/8 of a damage boost from the field being 3 spots green. So that's why Glenn is actually the bigger damage dealer here. Also, this boss I do not think is an enemy type where the Master Mune auto crits. We've talked about it in the past, but for enemies, yeah, it's not. 7 of the 9 enemy types in the game are, or sorry, you will auto crit against 7 of 9 enemy types in the game when using the Master Mune. This boss is one of the 2 types that you won't auto crit against. Oh, shoot, I didn't think it would act again. I thought I could use that 1 and still be fine. My bad. I haven't actually been paying too much attention to AP in this battle. So, anyway, part of the reason I was talking so much about the plot is after how easily we beat the penultimate boss of the game, I was kind of suspecting this fight would go the same way. And yeah. Very anticlimactic. We just kind of beat the boss super easily. So, yeah. I figured I'd talk about the plot for a while so I could, fill the runtime. Not to fill the runtime, but because I was expecting us not to have much for the fight. And I've been enjoying the run and wanted a reason to delay it a little. I didn't want to just end with two anticlimactic fights and nothing in between. But anyway, we got the bad ending. We don't save Shala. We don't learn much of anything about what happens after the ending. But we do still get to enjoy this nice tune. I genuinely cannot believe how easy these last two bosses were. I thought they would be way, way harder because of how much HP they had. But anyway, let's listen to the music. No. 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 Aw, Harl. I feel so bad about her. Time is rewinding. And we see someone who is clearly not animated the same way as the game. It's a bit more realistic. And that is a real world skyscraper. Railroad tracks, and she's walking along them. I used to love doing that as a kid. Back in Oklahoma, there was actually really. It didn't look quite the same, but it actually looked kind of similar to that. The flat plains there, they were more red clay and more flat, but. And then Kid back on our ship. Now, the meaning of those ending cinematics is a lot clearer if you get the good ending. But even in the good ending, it's still nebulous exactly what things mean. A big part of it is in the good ending, Serge wakes up like he did at the start of the game, and it's implied that he has vague memories of everything that happened, suggesting it is some sort of time loop, that or that maybe time just reset and he still remembers. Personally, I think the time loop part makes more sense because at the start of the game, we had to flash forward to the events of Dinopolis. And when we got to, or not Dinopolis, Fort Dragonia. And when we got to Fort Dragonia, Serge clearly felt something was up because he was remembering that flash forward. So exactly what that means, I can't say. Maybe I could come up with a theory if I thought about it for a while, but it definitely implies the game is not a singular entity, which actually makes a lot of sense. I love that, Manta Ray. Since there are many different endings, and each one of them could potentially be its own timeline, its own world, who's to say which one is the right one? I don't know. All I know is I never thought I'd be able to beat this run, and I am so thrilled that I did. So, yeah, I'm gonna hop off and I don't know what. I kind of want to like go outside and just hoot and holler, but it's like 1:30 in the morning, so I probably shouldn't. But yeah, I'm gonna go celebrate. Uh, with that said, thanks for anyone who stopped by while I was streaming, anyone who watches the VODs after the fact, or anyone who watches on YouTube. I hope you're all having a good day, that you get to enjoy this game yourself sometime, and I'll see you when I see you.